just listening to
election interference. Everybody knows it. I'm here instead of being able to be in Pennsylvania and Georgia and lots of other places campaigning. And it's very unfair. Fortunately, the poll numbers are very good. They've been going up because people understand what's going on. This is a witch hunt, and it's a shame. And it comes out of Washington. It's in coordination with Washington, everything, including the DA's office. It's in coordination with Washington. I just want people to understand that this is done for purposes of hurting the opponent of the worst president in the history of our country. Second of all, we have another trial going on right now. That's Letitia James. She campaigned on the fact that I will get Trump. I'm going to get Trump. And it has to do with a bond of $175 million. First of all, she doesn't want me to participate with financial companies in New York. So we have a company, I guess, based in California. It's a bonding company. And I put up $175 million in cash. But she says the bonding company is not good. She doesn't like the bonding company because she doesn't know if the collateral is good. And I put up $175 million in cash, and she's questioning the bonding company. Well, when you put up cash, and the number is 175, which is what we're supposed to be putting up, but I give it in cash, she shouldn't be complaining about the bonding company. The bonding company would be good for it because I put up the money. And I have plenty of money to put up, but nobody is going to be putting up with this. Nobody is going to be listening or coming to New York anymore. Businesses are going to be fleeing because people are treated so badly. It's got to be the most unfriendly place to do business, and that's why businesses are leaving and people are leaving as migrants come in and take over our parks and our schools and everything else. So on the Letitia James case, she's the worst attorney general in the country, by the way. On Letitia, and she keeps a lot of business out of New York, and businesses that are here are leaving. And that means jobs and a lot of revenue. Somebody's going to step in. The governor, somebody has to step in and do something because your businesses are fleeing. But on Letitia James, the money was put up. It's $175 million. And I don't think she's complaining about me for the first time ever. She's complaining about the company. But why would she be doing that when I put up the money? So I just want you to know that that's taking place in front of an extremely crazed judge who's the most overturned judge in New York State. He was overturned 4 or 5 times on that case alone. That's, you know who it is. I don't have to mention names. I want to be nice. I want to be very nice. But a thing like that and a thing like what's going on right here should never be happening. It's a very, very sad day in America. I can tell you that. Thank you very much.
Former president speaking before going into the courtroom. Caitlin, obviously we've heard these kind of statements before.
Well, and just for everyone who's, drinking their morning coffee and wondering what he's talking about there at the end, a judge, Judge Engoron, a separate judge, is this morning hearing and assessing the credibility of that bond that Trump put up in his civil fraud case. That's what he clearly is very preoccupied with there, what he was talking about. The other argument, though, is the one that his team has kind of coalesced around, the one that they say that they are going to be making for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And if Trump is convicted in this case, continuing to do it on the campaign trail, which is alleging that President Biden is in charge and coordinating this entire investigation, and is the reason Donald Trump is in a courthouse on criminal trial right now. Obviously, none of that is true. When all of this was coming to light, the facts of what Donald Trump, David Pecker, and Michael Cohen had done and talked about with these payments, Joe Biden was in Delaware. He had just left the White House, and so he was obviously not involved in this. This is a case that was brought here in Manhattan. Trump was indicted by a jury here, a grand jury here that heard the evidence here, and now it's going to be a jury of 12 people that will decide his ultimate fate here. But politically, they believe that's going to be, their best argument, even though it's not true. It's going to be what he says.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that this is directed is ludicrous. This is often referred to as a zombie case. This is a case that has been around for a while. It just sort of, it just took a long time. It would kind of go away, and then Alvin Bragg would come back to it.
2 different districts. Before Alvin Bragg was even the district attorney here in Manhattan, Cyrus Vance was the Manhattan district attorney here that was dealing with that. This was a case that they were questioning how to bring it, what it would look like, the question of whether the civil fraud case would be brought as a criminal case. Yeah. Those are things that have been around for a long time. And there were questions. I was covering the White House in 2016, 2017, whether or not this was a legal campaign contribution with these payments back then.
Judge Cunningham, we were talking about opening statements, and I know after a lot of trials, you would interview the juries that in your cases. How important do they think the opening statement is. Is that really what registers?
I don't know the precise answer to that because I don't think we discussed opening statements often with them, but I do know that with which is said first is often very important because it is the first time that I get anything significant about the case other than just simple rhetoric. And I think the opening statement for the people here will be their weaknesses, which they have to approach and turn them into strengths by saying, you don't have to like Michael Cohen. We're not asking you to take him to dinner. We're asking you to understand why he's telling you the truth today. And they will then go through each and every witness, and they will very painstakingly point out why Michael Cohen is being corroborated by other pieces of evidence and other testimony in the case.
Let's talk about the judge, Judge Merchan. You've known him for a long time. I'm wondering what do you make of how he's handled things thus far?
I think he gets an A+. This is a fishbowl of a trial. Everyone across the country, across the world, is watching what's going on in this unprecedented and unique situation. He's managed to keep his cool in a very difficult set of circumstances. He's rendering decision after decision, working overtime because he's getting inundated with motions. He's a public servant that the rest of New York should be grateful that he's in their employ.
In terms of the assaults he's faced from the defendant, have you seen something like that before?
I don't think to this degree, mainly because it's so magnified and it's on every news channel and everyone's talking about it. But to be fair, defendants often do crazy things in courtrooms. I have seen in my own courtroom defendants flip tables, spit, throw other things, punch their own attorneys or go after court officers. This is not a beautiful business we're in. It's an ugly business sometimes, and the point is to make sure at the end of the day, defendants get the fair trial to which they are entitled. If they're convicted, they'll be fairly sentenced, and if they're not, then that's the end of it. And that's what we all live with.
Judge Conn-Weiser, thanks so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Jake, back to you.
Thanks, Anderson. CNN's Kristen Holmes is outside the Manhattan courthouse for us. She's been closely tracking what's happening inside the former president's political orbit. Kristen.
Yeah, Jake, look, they are trying to utilize every aspect of this to try to make it like a campaign stop. As you just saw Donald Trump heading to the cameras, they really believe that this trial day was never going to happen, that eventually all of these delays would pay off and there would be no trial before the November election. Obviously, they are now resigned to the fact that this is where we are. He is going to be in this courtroom 4 days a week, and he's going to take advantage of going to the cameras. But I'm telling you, when I'm talking to these senior advisors, they are just unsure that that's going to be enough. They are trying to figure out ways to keep him on the campaign trail, keep him interfacing with voters, even if that means keeping him local to New York and various areas like outer boroughs, Staten Island, places that he won in the election or at least is more popular. Now, what we did see was a politically motivated stop at a Harlem bodega last week that was celebrated by his team, but then they were dealt a blow in North Carolina when he had a rally that was canceled because of weather. And when you talk to these senior advisors, some of them insist that this is going to help Donald Trump in the long run, that being in court, people are going to see that this is unfair. But I did speak to one advisor who told me that that's just not entirely the case. They believe that they are in uncharted territory. They know that anything could happen at this time, and they believe that he needs to get out there on the campaign trail. They are doing what they can do. They are making the most of him being in trial, but this advisor said they would really rather be focusing elsewhere, Jake.
All right, Kristen Holmes, thanks so much.